Welcome to the First Look Seminar. And Gino Bacola, as we said a couple weeks ago, Santa Anita has become carryover city. And once again, another carryover going into the Saturday card, my friend.
Yeah, and one thing too is the pick six pools on the 1 day carryovers are building back up again. Like this one's over 50,000 heading into tomorrow. Last week we had one at 60,000. Those are strong pools for a 1 day pool with no carryover, with all the other wagers that you can play now too, right? Everybody dives into the pick fives and late pick threes and doubles. So $50,000, $51,000 plus for us to dive on into tomorrow. We've got some leftovers, as our friend Dave Weaver would say, in the pick six pool. So we'll all be taking a swing. If you want to follow along with us, we're going to be starting in race number 4.
Starting race 4, Seminar Skip. And who would have believed we've only got 3 weeks left in the meet? Boy, how time flies.
Yeah, time flies, buddy, especially when you get old like us. It really flies. But, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, 3 weeks, and then we got Los Al for a couple weeks and opening the Del Mar. And next week, got the Belmont Stakes. So a lot of good racing. We're going to finish Santa Anita strong. Hopefully, we'll start by hitting the pick six tomorrow.
You know where I was yesterday, and it felt a little weird. I was at the fair in Pomona for the county fair with Milo. We went over there for the day, and it's just so funny walking around that track area when you're just used to having gone there for the racetrack. Because as we were talking, normally you get that Fairplex right after the summer, but now we just don't get it. That's where the Los Al racing is in. But they have the pig races over there, so you can win some bacon if you win on the pig races.
Wow.
So bet a few bucks, win back some bacon. But unfortunately, none of the ponies over there at the Fairplex yesterday.
Well, let's get it started, boys. Maybe we'll make a little bacon on our own here. And the pick six is a little over 51,000. So as Gino said, very nice. And now, Skipper, we're going to start in race 4. So race 4 is 6 furlongs, state bred, maiden 50s. And what are your thoughts here to kick us off in the pick six?
You know, it's kind of a tough sequence. It's tricky. We got Seismic Beauty, who's, 2 to 5, but I think is maybe beatable, coming off the layoff. But race 4 here, maiden 50s for Calbreds. And I'm going to try to take a stand early here. The one that I like is the 3, Miss Hellfire. I like the way this horse is training. They only had one work on XBTV, and that was April 25th. But boy, did I like that work. Kind of broke a little, like outside, went to the lead, showed some speed. The horse inside passed it, and this horse on the turn, this went by it again. They both grabbed hold, turning for home. This horse switched leads on cue, and I know Pipey doesn't have the best numbers first out, only 5%. But I tell you what, he's having a great meet. He's doing a great job like he always does. And I'm going to take a shot here early to single, try to get a little coverage late. Maybe I'll change a ticket if they come on the track and, I don't know, the horse looks a little washy or whatever. I don't like the way it looks. Maybe I'll change the ticket then. But right now, I'm going to take a shot and single the 3 horse. I like that work. The other ones, I don't know. Gino will probably talk about the other ones, but let's hear what he has to say. I'm going to take a shot and single the 3.
Gino, what's interesting about that, Skip said that a lot of people don't take advantage of, is you can go down to the paddock and look at it in the first leg and look if this filly, who's 4, right, looks fit or not, and you can switch your wagers up a little bit. So he's going to single right now, but you can go down there sometimes. And we're not great at that, but we've been doing it a long time. Not like a bloodstock agent, right? But you can see like, this horse maybe needs a race. Maybe he needs to lose a little, belly or whatever. But that's an important one to mention sometimes, Gino.
I think especially at the lower levels, right? Because like a good maiden special weight, most of those horses are going to look good in the paddock, right? Horses that they paid $100,000 and $500,000 and all the way up to $1 million for, they're going to look good. They're probably going to be traveling well. But once you get down to these lower levels, when you have horses that are making their first start too, and like in this race, there's not a lot to go off as far as the horses with experience, right? Even the 6 Baby Needs Shoes has never been on the dirt.
Right.
So this is a horse who's likely going to be favored in here or is going to take a ton of money and has never been on the dirt. Kind of reminds me of this bad favorite from a few weeks ago named Bitter Truth, who just sort of like was the one that got favored because nobody else in the race really jumped out. I mean, look at Turkey Bird. Like you don't really want to line up to play this horse, do you? Who's 5-2 and is 0 for 12, has never even finished second and has no early speed at all. So you're sort of like kind of eliminating some of the horses who you've seen the most of. I completely agree with Skip's analysis of that workout. And it was just a bummer that the only one there was on April the 26th a month ago, but it was really good. It almost looked like she was kind of playing with that horse, as he pointed out, like went a little wide. And then when that horse re-engaged, like just kicked on again, was always controlling and was always traveling well. And I totally agree with the Pipey sentiment. Like you don't think of Pipey as cranking him up with firsters. He can absolutely pop and fire with the right horses. And he's cagey. He's a better too. If he likes this horse, he's going to put a few bucks on this horse, and this horse will be 5-2 instead of 4-1. But she should be in this type of race as long as she looks okay in the paddock. I actually like the one a little bit too that I'm going to use, Vegas Nightclub. She's a 5-year-old mare making her second start, right? So these horses have had some issues along the way, but what I like, she was off slow from the rail. She draws the rail again. At least she got used to it last time out in her very first start. And I'm not saying she's going to be like shotgunning to the lead or anything, but she actually moved all the way up to third and made a really nice middle move before fading. And she was favored in that race. Yeah. Now the blinkers come on. So maybe that'll just help give her a little bit focus. So now when she looms back up, she can kind of continue and sustain that rally. Or maybe they just get out of the gate a little bit better. 1 and 3 for me. I mean, if you want to use the 6, guys, I'm sure a lot of people will. That's kind of like a scared money horse, right? Because people will use that horse if they feel like, it's the short price I have to include. I try not to play that way anymore myself because there's so many horses that you can add on your tickets and you end up costing yourself a ton of money. Give me 1-3. I'll be along with Skip. Let's try to go short here and get out of this first leg.
All right, so 1-3 for Gino. Skip, I like it, singling a first timer right off the bat here. And like you said with the 6, Gino, not only has that horse never tried the dirt, but the works are at San Luis race, so you can't even watch those. Maybe there's a reason Peter Miller has never tried this horse on the dirt, and finally it's the kind of the last straw here, I guess, but we shall see. All right, let's move on, Gino. Race 5, second leg here. Mile on the turf, 25 dime claimers, open company. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I thought there was a fair amount of speed, and they do look like the speed horses are drawn towards the outside. So usually if they're close to each other or kind of all inside or all outside, generally they're going to go, right? So I'm looking at the 6, Pioneer Prince. I'm looking at the 8, Hacking It Up, and the 9, Jimmy Blue Jeans. Hacking It Up actually might be the quickest of them coming out of the sprint races, whereas, you have horses like Pioneer Prince and Jimmy Blue Jeans who are coming out of the longer races. A year or two ago, Jimmy Blue Jeans wins a race like this. No doubt about it. I don't know if he's quite the same anymore now at 8 years old after his last couple races. He's just been off a little bit. He's in a race where there's other speed and he's drawn way to the outside in here. So I'm a little bit cold on him, a horse who we've used a lot of times through the years. I'm playing this race like it's going to set up for some horses off the pace. And the one that I like the most in here is the 5, Kawakazi, who I think will get a really nice trip. So, you go back to the last race, and the last 2 races are both pretty good at this level in races that didn't set up all that well. The Phosphorescence race, no speed to chase in there. And the race against Kaizon, where you see the horse was behind Kaizon, that was at the end of 2025. So this horse is a little bit dirtied up because he's a closer and he's going to come from off the pace, but I think he gets a much better setup in here. If you watch his replays too, he gets into some trouble. He probably spotted fields a few lengths here. Of the speeds, I like Pioneer Prince the best. I think if anyone can kind of be involved early and hang around late, it's him. He did legitimately stumble out of the gate, and he recovered well. He got the lead. He's still only raced 3 times after an 18-month break also. So he may have better races still to come as he continues to build off the fitness. He may be able to sit off a little bit. 5-6 is kind of my top tier. I feel like I got the best of the closers that I like, and then a horse that can be in the mix early. After that, maybe a couple others, but I'll let Skip mention some others that he may use and like.
All right, so the A is basically 5 and 6. He's kind of got the speed horse, and then the closer as his top play, Kawasaki. Skipper, your thoughts here?
I thought like Gino, looks like there's a lot of speed, and they're all from the outside, the 9, the 8, the 6.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a few in here. I'm going to go 4 deep. The first one I'm going to mention is the 2, one of these days. It drops down to the 25 claiming tag, and look at the races that he's run for 25. You got to go way back to May of last year, loses by a head. Then it goes back and it goes June of last year for 25 and wins by a half. Then it was, goes higher level. It drops back down to that 25 level. Victor Garcia, he's doing okay. I know it's only 10%, but all of his horses are running well. Rosario jumps aboard, coming off a break. I like the workout on May 1st. The 2 is going to be on the ticket. The other one I'm going to use is the 4, Quezon. This horse ran sneaky good to me last time in a race that I think he needed. I know he's getting up there in age. He's 8 years old. I know this is his best distance, going a mile. But that race, he kind of bumped at the start from the way outside. He was pulling hard from the back. He kind of had to take up a little bit, like not even take up, just paused a little bit. And then when they swung him out, Kyle Frey whipped him a couple times and just looked like almost like he needed the race. And I go back to its form. And when he comes off the break, usually it takes him a race or 2 to get running good. So I'm hoping that will be the case here. The 4 is going to be on my ticket. I might have to throw the 5 on the ticket because Gino likes it and what he mentioned. And, his best distance is also a mile.
Yeah.
So I'll put the 5 on my ticket with all the speed. I am going to use the 8, hacking it up out of the speed horses. This horse is stretching out from a sprint to a route. Papa Padromo, it owns and trains it, which I like. Dropping back down to 25, which it just ran 1 for, May or March 20th, going 6 furlongs. That's going to be the speed horse I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead.
Horses like that are always a tough read for me because like you look back at hacking it up earlier on in his career and he's gone long before earlier in some of the races that are below the past performances you see. But when he used to do that, he used to not show speed going longer. Now he's showing speed sprinting. So you just have to imagine that he's going to be showing speed again going longer, right? But it is funny because when horses are able to flip their running styles like that, sometimes you're not really sure which one you're going to get, but he has to be forwardly placed, right? Off those last couple races that have been so good for him that way.
Right. And, like that's part of the reason why I like him too, is because if the 7 and 9 go, I mean, although it's been showing speed, going sprinting, that horse can sit and get a good trip. So I'm going to go 2, 4, 5, and 8 to try to get out of the 5th race here.
All right, 2, 4, 5, and 8. Interesting, like we said, with the pace scenario in here, who's going to go, who's going to sit. Like it looks like, as we talked about, a lot of speed on the outside. So kind of a rider's race here as we move on to race 6. Skipper, 6 furlongs, 10 dime beaten claimers. What are your thoughts here in leg 3?
I'm going to go 4 deep again. This is a tough race. I don't know what to do. The favorite breaks from the rail. Just won on April 18th for May 12-5 State Breds. They didn't bet it that day. It was almost 20-1. I got to use it though. Hector Palma, Kyle Frey. I'm going to use the 2 with Tyler Bays for George Lopez. This horse is coming off a break. This is an all-time low. It's coming in from Low Sal. I think that horse might be a little bit sneaky. I'm going to use the 2. I'm going to also use Bob's Honey, the 3, dropping way down from 32 down to 10. Tim McCanna trains it. Pereira rides it. And the other one I'm going to use is the 5, Cloudy Rose. And this is another Victor Garcia coming off the break, ran good, lost by a half length. He owns and trains it, owns part of it and trains it. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 5 to try to get out of the 6th race here.
1, 2, 3, 5. Gino, these are tough races to look at sometimes. What are your thoughts? Anything different than Skip?
Yeah, I might get a little brave here and try to single the 5 because I do think a lot of people will spread around, but just sort of going through her form overall, I feel like she might just be the best horse in here, and they found the right level last time out. Look, that's exactly the same spot. When she dropped down, she was second best. She ran a really good race that day. That was also her first start in a couple months, so she's going to go second start off a short break. She can sit close. She can pass horses, which I really like in a spot like this. So she doesn't have to be so far out of it to pass them, but we know she can finish. And, you know, if you look at the dirt sprints, and this is actually going to be the formulator fact for Saturday that's going to pop up on the broadcast in race 6, Victor Garcia is really good in dirt sprint races. Like, that's just like his bread and butter. If you look over the last 5 years, he's been a 15% trainer in dirt sprints with a 283 ROI. And this filly fits that exactly. Look at her 5 races that are dirt sprints, 4 good ones, and then 1 that was in her first start after a 13-month layoff against a little bit too tough. And the other 4 races in dirt sprints, they're really good. She sits close. She finishes. She was facing tougher levels earlier on in her career. I think it's just a great spot for her because if it's not her, I would definitely use the 1 as well. And I'd probably use the 2 who Skip mentioned, maybe even the 6 and the 9. I think, you know what? This is a spot where I'm going to try to get a little bit brave, single the 5. If not, I come back, I play a late $3 pick 3 starting in race number 7.
I like it. Getting some good comments and good points there in that cheap claiming race, trying to get away with a single. All right, Gino, we're moving on to race 7. Maiden special weights, a mile on the turf. Carla Gaines is sitting on 799 wins. She's looking for 800. Gaines.
That would be unbelievable, right?
Scratched the other day too, right? I believe. Yeah. So now at 6-1, got beaten in nose first time out. That would be amazing, right?
Winning like a big milestone with the horse named after you, right, which would just be awesome. And on paper, he's definitely the horse to catch, right? I will mention that he is a Calbred and he is facing open company here. So this is a little different than his first start. Like, this is going to be a tougher group and he's going to go from route to sprint. But if you're talking about like pick 4s and pick 5s and stuff, you probably want him in the mix because he could get a little bit brave and he's very likely going to be the one that has the lead turning for home. I like a big price in here, along with a couple others. The 8, I think, is going to run really well. Path to Power, this is the horse who's coming into the D'Amato barn for the first time. That race at Dundalk was excellent. It was in a big field of 13. This horse ran second, looked all in early, but just kept grinding. I was going 1.25 miles on the synthetic first time out. So this horse has some serious ability. But the 6, Plagiarist, is the one that I really like in here. That was the first start on the grass on May the 2nd. And he was 3 wide going into the turn. He settled 4th. He got pushed 4 wide. And then he was all the way up to lead. He made this nice big move at the top of the lane. He tired after having a really wide trip all the way around. And that was the first start on the turf. The winner in that race, Miss Mystic, won by almost 2 lengths. Plagiarist was in a group of 5 horses that finished all right next to each other. So if he could have been like 2nd or 3rd, and that would have looked so much better on paper than finishing 6th in that race. I think there's really an upside here with Plagiarist. Look at who he was facing in the races on the dirt before going to the grass. In his career debut, Mr. AP was the horse who was 2nd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Secured Freedom was the horse that we liked a little bit and his graded stakes place. Blacksmith and Memory, those are both really nice horses. And honestly, he didn't run that badly in a lot of them. He was just a few lengths behind horses that were a little bit better. I think this guy's very well spotted in here to run well on the grass. And he's not going to take that much money because on connections, Lascano's aboard. People are going to bet Path to Power, Tribalism. People are going to bet the 2 who also comes in for D'Amato. People are going to bet Gaines. 6 is in the mix for me. And then a crazy long shot that I will probably include somewhere. The 3, Born to Rock. In those first 2 races on the grass going long, they were not bad at all. The figures are light because that's early on in the 2-year-old season. So those figures are always coming back a little bit light. Then they tried the grade 3 Delmar Juvenile Turf. He was 50-1 against Hey Nene and Plutarch in that really good race. And then in the last start that we saw him, he just didn't really fire again, but that was before a long layoff. I mean, we know he has some ability going long on the grass. Jaramillo jumps aboard for McCarthy. If this horse is even 15-1, that's worth throwing into some of your exotics, let alone 30-1. So 6, horse that I'm going to bet. I think the 8 is the real horse to beat. Fun, crazy long shot for me is the 3, Born to Rock.
It's a 6-8-3, and I thought this was a very interesting race, Skipper, and a couple with Michael McCarthy, a couple with Phil D'Amato. Very interesting race. What were your thoughts here?
I'm going to take a shot. I really like the 9, Tribalism. I love the race that it comes out of at Keeneland of October of last year. Broke from the way outside the 12 post, showed some speed, kind of got up on the lead, sat second there, although it says fourth. It was laying in a great spot. It was fourth, on the backside and going in the turn, but it could have gone. It just kind of, the jock Gaffleone kind of took hold. It could have been up there closer to the pace. Gets first time Lasix. The third and fourth place finisher came out of that race and won again. And I love the way that this horse is training. I put really good works on the April 9th. That's not on the form. I like that one. May 7th. And then the last one I really liked, May 23rd. I love the way that this horse is coming into the race. I love the breeding on this horse. I'm going to take a shot and I'm going to single here. I will say this. That race was really good at Path to Power that Gina was saying. But out of the 2 D'Amatos, I like the 2. They've been working against each other. And I thought Hazaka has been training a little bit better, outworking Path to Power. Now, that doesn't always mean anything. That's on synthetic. This is on the grass. And, both of those are live, I'm sure. And if Gino likes that at the 8, I'm a little scared. But I'm going to take a shot, and I'm going to single the 9 coming out of that good key race. And I love the way it's training. And Michael McCarthy's been on fire, and I love the breeding.
Talk about a misleading stat, Gino. And you go back 5 years, but first it says first time with trainer with Michael McCarthy 0 for 25. I mean, that's like, I don't even. What does that mean? It's like oddity.
Because then, you can look. Well, the thing too is what's interesting about that. McCarthy never claims horses, right? So that's a weird one too, because so many barns are claiming horses, so their first time with trainer stats are a little bit better because they'll get these sharp horses. If he gets a horse, a lot of times it's a horse that's sent to him, and even if they're good, a lot of times it's like this where the horse hasn't run in 6 or 7 months. So Tribalism could run really well, finish second, and that ends up being another 0 in that statistic for him, right? Does that mean he can't get a horse ready? No, but you got to know that he does not claim horses,
right?
For that stat to make more sense, because I just did a race a few months ago where he had claimed a horse, and it was crazy because over the last 5 years, there's only 2 or 3 that he's ever claimed. So it really does stand out. But again, that was we talked about with Doug O'Neill when he goes in ebbs and flows. You absolutely know they can get the right horse ready to fire, no doubt about it. I was a little more concerned with the layoff than with the first time acquisition, right? Just this, once you get beyond 4 or 5 months, I start getting worried. Never about coming into the McCarthy barn for the first time. He would be on a short list of people I'd be fine sending my horses to and hoping they can move them up.
No question. Now, if you didn't know the trainer and you're looking at that stat, that's so misleading. But anyway.
It is.
All right, Skipper, we're moving on to race 8. This is the Santa Margarita, grade 2. Seismic Beauty is going to be 1 to 9 or whatever. I mean, how do you beat her? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can't. But coming off the break, coming out of that Breeders' Cup race, boy, I know it's Breeders' Cup distaff, but that was bad. I mean, she basically got eased there. Coming back, she's training good. She got, new owners because they bought her at the sale. She looks good. I mean, what can you say? I mean, but 2 to 5 coming off a break, I think, listen, if she's going to get beat, this might be the time to beat her, right? First off the break, and I'm going to use, but I'm also using Simply Joking. That's the Now horse. Ran really good in the Santa Maria, won by 6 3/4. I know it didn't beat much. It beat a Baffert horse, but that was a lower level Baffert. Nafisa, this is his cream of the crop, Seismic Beauty. That's, but I just think if you could beat her, now's the time. And I'm going to go with the sharp horse. I know there is a lot of speed in here. The Lavender Love, the 5, the Baltus, coming back in 2 weeks, showing speed, but if you go back to Simply Joking, she broke her maiden from off the pace. She doesn't need the lead, I don't think. I think she could sit and get a great trip. If nobody decides to go, I think Jaramillo will probably just send her out of the gate and win like she did last time, you know? So, and I like her drawn outside of Seismic Beauty also. That's key for me. So I'm going to use the 3 and the 4 or the 3 and the 4 here to try to get out of the race and hopefully beat Seismic Beauty.
Yeah, I mean, Gino, unless those two somehow just ding dong battle on the front end, that's Simply Joke is the only one who even makes a little bit of sense here, right? I mean,
yeah, when you go through like process of elimination, it's just so hard to get to anyone else. Like,
right.
Lemon Muffin has been off form so bad recently. Like, just not any excuses, has been well behind Simply Joking. There's nothing you can pull out of those races to say that's why this is going to be different on Saturday, right? And from a handicapping angle, you just couldn't get there. Almond Joy just ran 7 days ago, and Almond Joy was in really good form last year.
Right.
This year, the first start in the Beholder Mile was fine, but it looks okay because it was third in a grade 1. It really wasn't like she was ever in a threatening spot. It was just a really well-beaten third, right? So now we're kind of down the 1 and the 2. Like, Lavender Love at least has a couple races on dirt that were both wins. The only 2 races going long on the dirt are both wins. But how do you project her getting in front of the other 2 horses, right? Like, what kind of trip is she going to get? She's going to be faster and classier than Seismic Beauty. You can't help but just sort of whittle it down to those 2. And you get to Simply Joking, who, I mean, Skip, you and I gave her out in the Raven Run on October the 28th on the radio show that day. She has had bad luck in all of the like races since then until last time when she finally got like a really easy field. She got out of the gate and it was like all that bad luck from those races together came for her on the opposite side, right? And it was like easy field. She got the lead. She poured it on. I agree. She can sit off. The only thing I didn't love, and I didn't love her recent work. I don't know if you saw it or not. And I didn't think it was that great. On May the 22nd, she was working outside of a mate, and I thought she was just sort of second best that day. And maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe she's not being cranked up that much in the morning right now. But I'm kind of like, if she's going to come and beat a really nice horse like this, watching that work, I just don't have any other options, unfortunately. It's either single Seismic Beauty or 3-4, you know?
Yeah.
Gino, you're right. I did see that. What I'm hoping is the horse is just ready. You know, it's just kind of just to work, you know. But
just fitness, like not worrying about extending this horse to beat a workmate, right? That kind of thing.
And I the work on the 9th I really liked. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that, you know, she's fit, she's ready to go. Just, you know, nice, easy work in company going into the race. But I do agree with you on the 22nd. I'm just hoping, I'm not trying to overthink it. You know?
We don't have a lot of options, right? That's really what it comes down to, you know?
All right, we move on to the 9th and final. A full field here to close it out, Gino. Another maiden special weight, going a mile on the grass. How do you see the finale tomorrow to kick off, or to finish up, I should say, the Pick 6?
Yeah, there could be some fireworks in the sky late as I'm on my magic carpet with Jasmine here, because I think this might be the spot where she runs a little bit better. First of all, this horse should not be 30-1 on the morning line. Why, off of her last grass race, when you look at what she did in the last race on the grass and you're just comparing speed figures, why would she be 30-1 off that 69 buyer when like the horse inside of her ran a 71 and 72 and is 9-2? To me, that doesn't just make sense right off the bat. Her dam won at 1 1/8 on the grass. So this is actually where she should be at her best, going long on the turf. The first few races on the dirt, they weren't bad. And in the turf race on May the 9th, she had a good start. She was actually closer up early than it looks on paper, but they took her back, and she actually was doing her best running late on the outside. I think it's just really sneaky. She's not overmatched by this group on speed figures at all. I'm absolutely using her in the mix there. After the 3, the 5 was the next one for me. That's Conquistadora, who she's raced on the grass a couple times. She had a fine start. She was actually right on the lead, but she couldn't get over. I think the blinkers could really help her, and I feel like she'll be in the mix early on. 3, 5, Michael McCarthy, how about one more time with the number 1 Slice, 2 sprints to a route. This horse is going to try the turf for the first time. Her dam won twice on the turf, including a stakes winner on the grass. So there's pedigree there for this one as well. And those are, I'm not a numbers player. I always look at the horses more. My mom will play some numbers. She'll box 1 3 5s and 2 4 7s. Mrs. B's got to put in at least $1 try box with the 1 3 5 there, because that could be box cars to close out the card at Santa Anita tomorrow.
I love it. Shout out to Mrs. B. 3-5-1 are the major players there for Gino. What are your thoughts, Skip?
I'm definitely going to use the 1. Gino just talked about the breeding, the dam, winning twice long on the grass, a stakes race. And I thought her first race was really good. I know Weekend Princess won going away 6.5, but this horse was finishing strong. I made notes. I'm waiting for that Michael McCarthy to stretch her out, because I think it's going to do her really good. And obviously the grass is what I think she wants also. And when him and he's having a great meet, but when him and Jaramillo team up, they're doing very, very well together. So the 1's going to be on my ticket. Shout out to Kimbo Slice. I love the UFC. Kimbo, my man. So I
like it.
He's looking down on us. Rest in peace, Kimbo. 1's going to be on my ticket. Gino might have talked me into the 3. I've bet this horse a few times, and it shouldn't be 30-1.
No.
I'll throw the 3 in because of Gino. The 5, definitely. 5 is actually my top play. I didn't mention the 2. The Soul Sister's got to be on my ticket also.
Yeah, she's a major player too, for sure.
Yeah, she had a little trouble. Checked last time. Finished nicely. Second off the break. Karen Headley trains. That's probably the horse to beat.
Agreed.
But I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. The 5 is my top play. I went back and watched that replay, and like Gino said, showed speed, kind of couldn't get over, so they kind of grabbed hold. This horse might be on the lead tomorrow with the blinkers on.
I agree.
And I love
because there's not that much speed in this race early on. No. You go through the field over and over, and there's not really any, maybe the 7 stretching out, right?
Maybe the 6 adding the blinkers, who knows?
But it's not, they don't seem like they're going to be lining up. So if this horse gets forward, it can be either on the lead or sitting close. I think we could be in a good spot there.
Yep.
The first race wasn't bad last year. And then the dirt race was, so not bad, but the figure wasn't real good. Gave it a little time, came back. It almost ran like it needed the race too to me. It just kind of I kept looking for excuses and I couldn't really find any. And I just think maybe it needed the race. Maybe it wants to be on the lead. McCarthy is much better second off the break. He could win off the break. I'm singling one of his other horses coming off the break with JJ, but sometimes they need a race coming off the break. And this could have been one of them. So the 5's going to be my top play, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 5. The only other horse that, maybe I'll add on my pick 5, and that's another reason I wanted to mention, I'm going to single the first leg. Well, if that horse loses, I'm going to come back and I'm going to play the pick 5, and I could get more coverage being 50-cent bet, and I can adjust the ticket. So the pick 6 is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 5. If I come back on the pick 6, if I come back with the pick 5, the 8's definitely going to be on my ticket. So those are the ones that I'm going to use.
And maybe that's what you take, is that we were both a little cold on the 8, 9, and 10. So I probably that's your try. I just probably put that into the winner's circle there. But those are 3 horses that are going to take money that neither one of us were that, they weren't the first horses that we mentioned. So maybe if they do take money and you're looking at this race individually, you could find a little value with some of these other horses that we were pointing out who should be bigger prices. It wouldn't shock me at all, but Pentel Bay has not raced since last year. Looking at the horses that she was right behind, I think those races look better on paper than they might now. Those horses have not come back and run all that well. Silky Save was basically eased last time out. Just kind of lost position and backed up. So I don't know what to do coming out of that race. And Dream for Within, I just thought the 2 was way better in the very same race. Right. Soul Sister. So any of those horses could win, but if they are those kind of shortish prices, feels like Skip and I are moving elsewhere in the in that last race. And shout out to Dean Hilt. He said, I love listening to you guys. I also listen every Saturday on the radio show. So fans of Chappie and Skippy who's tuning in and watching on YouTube.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate that. You know, I did want to mention the 9 Pinto Bay's works. It didn't work bad, but I wasn't I don't know. They weren't like eye-catching to me where I need to use this horse.
So the DRF gave them C's just to give you an idea. Okay. Again, we're talking, this is grass and stuff. It's different, but you'd like to see the horse a little more ready or just looking like a little more ready on the workout. So, yeah, I was
occasionally they just hate the dirt, but you're right. Yeah, right.
Because this one was all out late instead of maybe didn't like the surface. You know, you'll get that sometimes from the workout reports, but I agree. I did not. Yeah. I only looked at a certain few in the grass races, and those are the ones I look at. The horses coming back off the layoffs. It just didn't inspire me to want to include the horse.
Yeah. Right. All right, Gino, drive us home coming into the weekend with the pick 6 carryover of over 51,000, my friend.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're going to get started in race number 4 tomorrow with the pick 6 carryover. And you can play like Skip was talking about. Maybe you play a pick 6 and then you play a pick 5 ticket where you can sort of play some different horses because of the $2 base wager. And then a 50-cent pick 5 that starts, in the second leg of the pick 6 sequence. So $52,000 about carried over on a really nice Saturday card. And next week, we'll be getting to the Belmont for the third leg of Racing's Triple Crown. And then after that, the focus will be back at Santa Anita to close things out. So just a couple more weeks ahead. And I'm hoping that we can send some people into the winner's circle tomorrow.
Let's hope so. Everybody have a great weekend. And we will talk to you, unless there's a Sunday carryover, we'll talk to you next Friday. So have a good weekend. Yeah, go ahead, Skipper.
I just wanted to ask you, what do you think the pool for the pick 6 is going to be tomorrow?
It's a good question. Over under 350?
Yeah, I was going to say at least 300.
Yeah. I'd say 350 is a good estimate. What's nice, weather should be nice. I think should be good. So hopefully the folks will pour it in.
There's no aqueduct. They're waiting until next week at Saratoga, so I think we'll get some of that money too. I know Churchill's got a good card, but I think we might be surprised. 350, maybe even 500. Who knows?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Well, send it in, folks, and we're ready to play. So thanks, gentlemen. We'll see you again. We'll see you next week. Appreciate it.
Good luck.